Let's take a look at the Samsung Heat, Helio's smallest and arguably their hottest phone to date. Like the LG Chocolate, the Heat has a touch-sensitive navigation pad, so when it's in standby mode, all you see is a smooth, glossy surface. Of course, like all smooth, glossy surfaces, the Heat attracts fingerprints like crazy. When you open up the Heat, it springs to life, and the navigation pad appears from beneath the surface. Samsung's touch-sensitive keys are a little bit more reliable than those found on the LG Chocolate. However, even with the sensitivity set to super, we still found ourselves having to press some keys twice for them to register, especially the back key for some reason. Like the Chocolate, the Helio send key is on the front, but the end key is on the side. This isn't usually a problem, since most of the time you're just going to hang up a call by closing the phone. But it's weird to have it there, and it's something to take note of. Not all the keys are touch sensitive. The D-pad and the numeric keypad both use standard buttons, so you get tactile feedback where you need it the most, in cases like games or text messaging. On the left-hand side are volume keys and a play-pause button for the media player. And on the right, below the end key, there's a camera button. At the bottom, that's a headset jack and charging port. The camera is actually hidden behind the slide, so you'll have to have the phone open in order to use it. Curiously absent is a memory card slot. The Heat has 136 megabytes of built-in memory, but no room to add an additional card. The Heat and the Drift, released a few months ago, both share slider form factors and the exact same software. But the Heat is a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner. However, the Drift adds a headphone jack, a memory card slot, and an external camera so that you can take pictures without having to open the phone. The Drift and all of the Helio phones that come after it, including the Heat, all use the same menu system, much the same way all Verizon phones use the same menu system. Although Helio's is a bit hipper, and it's round instead of being square. Even though it's round, you can still use the D-pad without a problem, because Helio made it so that if you just keep pressing a direction on the D-pad, that the menus will just keep rotating. As you can see when you go through the different icons, the two most likely options are already exposed as soft buttons so that you don't have to dig through menus for things like, say, turning on Bluetooth. Using the Drift or Heat, you can now buy and download music over the air right from Helio, just like you can from Verizon or Sprint. Tracks are $1.99 and feature a pretty decent selection. When you're in the music player, you're pretty much locked to playing music, except you can actually send or read text messages. Other than that, you'll have to leave the music player to do anything. The Drift and the Heat feature two location-based applications. One is Google Maps. With Google Maps, you can search for a business or an address and get directions to almost any place that Google can find. So if we try and find our local cafe, Google will bring it up, and then we can use the menu to get directions to it. We can start from our own location or from an address. Using the location, we'll actually turn on the phone's GPS, and the phone will figure out where we are. And then it will calculate the directions. The only thing is, the directions aren't turn by turn the way you're used to on your car's GPS system. You actually have to manually enter the next step. So once you've started directions, then you keep hitting 3 to get to the next turn. Now, even though you have to manually enter once you've actually made a turn, The GPS will follow you, so the blinking blue dot that's you will actually start chasing after you in the map. Buddy Beacon is a much simpler application. You ask people on your contact list to become your friends. Once they accept, then you can ask where they are, and they can see where you are. The heat sure is sexy, but you'll make a few compromises if you choose it over the drift. Yeah, you'll miss the memory card slot a little bit, but what you'll really miss is 0.7 megapixels. The heat only has a 1.3 megapixel camera, and it makes a big difference in quality when you compare it to the 2 megapixel shooter in the drift. Other than that, it's going to be a hard choice.